You're probably in a situation where you feel frustrated at home, but you keep it to yourself. You let things slide to keep the peace, but you actually feel disrespected and her not on your side, which creates distance. Or you're showing up, providing and leading in business, but something still feels off at home. Here's the truth most men won't admit. You cannot lead your marriage if you can't lead yourself in difficult moments. That's where respect is either built or lost. You're not just avoiding conflict, you're building up resentment. And the longer you do this, the more it starts to show up in how you speak, how you lead, and how you connect with her. What happens at home affects you at work. I'm Nathalie. I help married business owners strengthen their love life to elevate their business success. In this video, you'll understand what the 1% of men do differently when resentment shows up and how to handle it in a way that actually builds respect, connection, and support in your marriage. Your marriage serves a purpose. It's not just to have fun. It's not just to have sex. It's not just to have good moments. No, it is there for you to utilize it in a way that's going to expand your mind, make you a far better leader than what you are already, and become one of the greatest providers you can be. Wouldn't you want that? You don't want to be the man who will delay it or tolerate it. No, that is not who you are. And every time you tolerate what should be addressed, you lower the standard of your relationship. You're a woman, highest value, vice president of the home. When you look at her that way, things do change. Resentment is feedback. That's all it is. It's telling you something needs to be addressed here. It needs leadership. And it needs clarity. When you handle it that way, when you see it as feedback, it doesn't create distance. It actually creates deeper connection because now she feels heard. You feel respected. She is more aligned with you and the relationship becomes stronger. Here's what the 1% do differently. They don't suppress resentment. They process and lead it through. They tackle it with practical solutions. Step 1, they take ownership first. Before they bring anything to her, they check themselves. They see the areas where they can take personal responsibility, and this is what they ask. Am I reacting or am I leading? Because the 1% understand that if you walk into a conversation triggered, you've already lost control. Take the emotions aside and become more practical during these conversations. Because the calm and practical and structured you are, the better and more productive the conversation will be. Most men either, which I understand, we're human beings, they explode, they shut down. But the 1%, they're clear. And they identified that what actually bothered them, why it bothered them, and what outcome they actually want from it. Because if you don't have clarity, you'll bring confusion into the conversation. Step number 3, they lead the conversation, not avoid it. So they don't wait for weeks. That's when it just gets bigger and bigger. They don't let it build. They address it early on with structure because now they know resentment grows in silence. And it's pretty ugly. Before I go deeper into this, I've put together a free framework on the 5 steps to rebuild respect, connection, and support in your relationship. If you want it, just come and give me the guide below the video and we'll send you the link to download it. Step number 4. They lead with understanding, not accusation. So instead of saying when you're into this conversation, you always do this, pointing the finger, right? They say, help me understand your perspective on this. That's more practical. That is more productive. That one shift alone changes everything, the demeanor, the energy, because now you're not attacking, you're leading. Step number 5, they control the frame, and this is how you do it. The 1%, they don't let the conversation just spiral. They don't match emotional chaos with more emotion. They don't match the energy that she has. They stay grounded, observant, confident, intentional, because whoever controls the frame controls the outcome. And this is where most men lose it. They start strong, but the moment it gets emotional, they react. That's when everybody loses. And now the conversation is no longer productive. It's going to be a waste of time because no one is listening. No one is being receptive to feedback. It's reactive. In business, you catch yourself being less reactive and more practical, more logical. You have this confidence. You have this clarity because you have the right tools to build a business greatly. So why don't we have tools to build a marriage for success? That's where it starts, and that's what I offer. Most men think they're doing the right thing by staying calm, staying quiet, staying controlled. But what they don't realize is this: unexpressed resentment doesn't disappear. It does leak. It leaks into your tone, your energy, your presence, and she feels it. Women are more feelers. Even if you never say a word, we know. So what happens? You think you're keeping the peace, but you're actually creating more disconnection because now you're holding back. She feels the distance, and neither of you are addressing what's actually there. You can say things like, I want us strong. I care about this. Let's handle this better together. You matter to me. I am committed to improving this. You're extremely valuable to me. Your marriage is not something you manage. It is something you lead. And the men who win in marriage also win in business and in life because you have the confidence to lead both areas. And now you're not carrying the weight for both areas. There are similar principles here in marriage as well that you learn in business, you should apply. But the real key is what you learn in marriage, the skills, the people skills, being emotionally stable, having emotional intelligence. That's when you make greater money in business because you're learning the key to handle people better. Is success doesn't define your outside circumstance. It is how you deal. It is how you handle those circumstances that define success, that define your success. Let that sink in for a moment. As a reminder, if you want the exact structure to lead these conversations that you know you're avoiding and lead it in a productive way, comment, give me the guide below, and we'll send you the link to download it. Here is a 1% mindset shift. Think of it this way. When you had jobs in the past, and let's say if you ever got fired, or let's say, unfortunately, let's just say knock on wood, it never happens, the business goes bankrupt. It is because there was somewhere down the line a lack of skills. And there were things that needed to be confronted before it got bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's same thing here. What's going to happen in marriage? Divorce. So all it is that you need structure, the right kind of tools to making your marriage be one of the successful ones. The 1% understand something most men miss. Your marriage doesn't break in big moments. It breaks in small moments you ignore. In business, you don't ignore problems. Heck no. You address them early. Confidently, you solve them fast. You lead them through. But what happens at home? Why? We take each other for granted. It's going to be fine. You start to hesitate. You delay. You don't prioritize it the way you do in business because you don't see marriage as an opportunity for you to become the better man that you can be. It takes work, just like how business takes work. Marriage takes work. When your marriage is strong, everything gets easier. And I want you to succeed. That is why, as a reminder, if you want to know how to rebuild respect, connection, and support in your marriage, just comment, give me the guide below, and we'll drop you the link to download it, or you can click the link in the description below this video to grab it as well. If you want to know how high-performing men like you actually lead differently to earn respect, attraction, and deep connection at home, I highly recommend that you watch this video next here because it breaks down the leadership shift that separates average husbands from elite leaders in their marriage. Check that out next. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.